Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, you're watching us, Annie and Zamil on Hello On 2, your Murshidah on Hot. And of course, when someone holds the iPad, they start to answer lots of things on Hello On 2's Facebook, right? So facebook.com/Hello On 2. So I stand corrected that I didn't actually write that comment. So it was Annie who actually wrote that comment, so we start to blame you. The blaming game happens.
This is what happens. I'm being nice to him and he blames me for it. You wonder whether you want to be nice now.
I was just trying to justify and clarify the case.
Alright, Malaysia, 2282906222823043. We do hope that you could give us a call, talk to Murshidah in the studios. Today we're talking about the blame game. How do you end up blaming everybody else and everything else and the whole world for what's going on with you, and how people end up doing the same to you as well. So let's talk to Murshidah.
Yeah, Murshidah, the motivator and trainer. So, good morning, first of all.
Hi.
How are you?
Okay, let's start with asking why. Why do people start to blame others for their misfortunes?
Yes. Well, yeah, like you mentioned just now, we were talking about this shortly before we were on air. Blaming is actually a form of like a survival instinct. You know, people have this thing like the mindset of fear, you know, or scarcity. So if anything, they see that, you know, if their self-image is at stake, they tend to blame others if anything goes wrong.
Yes.
You know, and then that too, you know, in a way, behind the blaming culture, blaming mentality is actually a fear concept. Now people are actually afraid of something that, you know, they might look bad or they might get in trouble, you know, that sort of thing that causes them to start blaming others. And why I wanted to talk about blame is a lot of times it is so instilled in a lot of our, you know, mindsets that we are not even aware that blaming is actually very bad to our development. And you know, in some extensive research that has been done in the US, where, you know, a society or a culture that practices blaming on a regular basis, you know, anything bad happens, oh, point finger, right? So when this happens, what it does is it not only makes the group or the society level of learning lower, their productivity is also slower, and they have this fear mentality where you cannot trust one another, you don't work well together, and that one is actually what holds a lot of development in society.
That's where we're coming into the form of trust. Now, when you end up blaming one another, you actually lose the trust of the other person.
Exactly.
We also want to get into the grassroots level. Now, when we start blaming, it's from deep down. It's something that we probably would have learned when we were growing up. So, would you say that possibly it's literally you know, something that we developed from home, that you were, you know, you have parents who probably didn't influence you in the positive manner, and then this becomes a habit where you grow up to actually blame everything around you for whatever way that you have grown up.
Exactly, and I call this an evil habit. And in America, they call the blaming culture actually like a virus or a germ that spreads, you know. And in an experiment that was done, it was mentioned that people who see others blaming others to protect their self-worth, they tend to do that unconsciously. But having said that, when they were surveyed and, you know, they read or they pointed out two different types of people, the type of person who takes responsibility and accepts the blame and does something about it, compared to another person who blames. Everybody said the person who blames is not good, not respectable, losers, you know, like they're not respectable, their level in society goes down, loser, that sort of thing. So we must be, you know, we must take ourselves out from ourselves as well as look at ourselves on a different angle and say, look, you know, this is not doing good if we start blaming everybody for our problems. And like what Annie said just now, it can be really deep set, rooted right from childhood. And how common is it? Like, you know, you see a baby learning to walk, and then the baby hits a wall because, you know, it's learning to walk, and then boom, you know, you hit the wall. And what does the mother say? Ooh,
bad wall,
beat the wall. You know, and it's like, hello, the wall is just there. It's an innocent victim. It just happens to be there, but you're blaming the wall. You know what we can actually change in our training of our children is
bad baby.
No, not bad baby. But rather, hey, you know, you
just a
got a lot to learn.
I know,
that is funny.
Parenting skills.
What the parent can do is, you know, be more careful. Be more careful. Look, when there's a wall, you go this way. You know, make it fun. But that kind of learning where you hit the wall and you blame the wall is actually, you know, instilled in the subconscious, where everything else, if anything goes bad, you blame the wall, or blame other people. If you can't find anybody else to blame, you blame the wall.
So is it because of upbringing then, or in the environment that they live in, that they have it subconsciously. They grow up so subconsciously thinking that, oh, it's I'm the victim here. It's the environment that's at fault.
Exactly. When we have that victim mentality, we tend to develop that thinking of, oh, everybody has to do things for me. You know, poor me. I'm such a person who needs a lot of help and all that. And when things don't go wrong, oh, poor me. Everybody is against me.
Right.
You know, that sort of thinking.
I actually have a case study that I can give you right now. It's a live case study. This is something that involved me. I had someone I knew, an acquaintance who I no longer know right now, mainly because of this whole thing. She used to have this habit of blaming me for everything. We used to work together before, and so anything that goes wrong, she ends up saying, "Oh, Annie didn't tell me to do this. Annie's the one who ended up doing this." So,
and at the same time, this person will take credit of whatever.
Yes, so it comes to that. You know, it came to a point where, for now, I've actually stayed away from that person because I felt it was real negative energy coming in. Because everything that goes wrong, it's, oh, Annie didn't end up doing this, so it's, you know, Annie should have done something about it. She didn't tell me what to do. Now, what do you do with characters like this, apart from, of course, staying away? How can you change them? I feel sorry for her, honestly.
Bad Annie, bad Annie.
A lot of parenting skills here. A lot of parenting skills.
Annie, you did well in that you stayed out of it, because this is what you call toxic people in your life. And in everybody's lives, there's always this toxic character who's like sucking the energy out of you and sometimes trying to stop you from moving forward. Now, what happens if that person is close to you, right? And what I would say is, because, you know, I really am a strong believer of love and respect, and love is a more powerful energy than anger and fear. So what we can do is we give love to this person, but stand your ground. If, let's say, you were blamed for something that you know is the truth, you did not do something like that, you stand up for the truth, right? But like I always say, you know, the truth is the truth, even if everybody doesn't believe it, and a lie is still a lie if everybody believes it. It will still surface. You know, the truth will still surface, and if you don't get into that blaming game where, you know, if she blames you and then you start attacking her back, which is what most people will do, you know, they in self-defense, they attack them back or they attack other people, right? So if you don't do that, you just step back and you stand for the truth, right, without spreading that negative energy. Yes, berani kerana benar, it's true. And you stand for the truth, you know, ultimately the truth prevails and your self-image will increase. A person who keeps blaming others all the time, otherwise their status will go down.
Okay, well, we took the streets.
Yes, and I have to say that I don't know how you managed to survive that for 11 years. But anyway, we took to the streets to find out what other people think about this. So yeah, let's roll BT.
Take a look.
You know, people like to blame others when something bad happens.
Alright, okay. I think they're not ready to face the responsibilities, and that is so bad.
Alright. You know people like that?
Yes.
So how do you deal, you know, when you see people like that?
Just ignore them. That's all.
Do you think they can change the habit?
Maybe.
Because I think since small they are blamed by other people. Yeah, so it's they grew up like that, so this is part of their habit. So they actually, if you want to, you have to change the habit.
Do you think we can change the habit?
Yeah, I think can. It's education, parents' education, then
Do you think it's also because of lack of maturity and responsibility?
Yeah, of course. Because nowadays, I think the children grow up quite easily. Everything is already planned. Even those nowadays, I read some article that the parents will accommodate the children for interview. Yeah, so maybe there's still a lack of responsibility.
Thank you very much.
All right, so something they can change these people. Let's see now.
What about media? When it comes to watching Malay dramas or Chinese dramas or Tamil dramas, right? It's always, woe is me, suddenly it rains.
Yes, it does. And it's always the women that are attacking other women. It's a sad sight, though.
Yes, there's something about rain that makes it so dramatic.
Suddenly
it's
it rains.
either happiness in rain or sadness in rain and blame in rain.
No, it never rains when it's a happy situation.
You do dance, you don't need love scenes.
That's true.
Okay, you know, like you mentioned, the media plays also a big role. And what the media actually does, it spreads the word even more faster. you know, a certain culture or a certain a dramatic effect, you know. And you know, when we focus on the problem actually focuses back on us. We leech onto the problems leech back to us. We leech onto drama also leeches onto us in our lives. And like I said about that research that happened in the US, when people are exposed constantly to all this drama about blaming others, unconsciously, even though they are aware blaming is bad, when they did the survey on those people who were exposed to all these dramas, they actually became more dramatic, and they believe that, you know, oh, it's okay to blame others to preserve certain things, and just for the sake of, even though it's not the truth. And this is unconscious. And when they saw this, they saw it's very disturbing, because when we expose or we see stories where people are always having the attitude of woe is me, I am the victim here, you know, and blame the other person and all that without taking responsibility, and that is what everybody will do unconsciously and believe that that's okay.
What about, like, okay, Annie said that she would try to avoid certain people who actually do this. What about in a case where you are really being blamed for something that you didn't do or something like that? And what are other ways that you can overcome this or to curb that? To curb that situation,
apart from confronting the matter.
What sort of damage control can you do?
I always believe in this statement: for things to change, first I must change. Right? So you cannot change other people, but you can change yourself. You know, you stand for the truth. You stand for the truth, and you stand your ground on what it is that needs to preserve yourself, your own self-image, and your own self-esteem, especially if it is, you know, very dangerous for you. So you stand for that, but do not ever humiliate the other person in front of others. You know, if let's say, you know, that it's not the truth, you pull the person aside and say, look, this is why do you do this? You know, you tell them in all honesty, with love and respect, without blaming, right? But you stand for the truth. And make sure in your life that you stand for the truth and preserve that truth by giving love and respect in all other areas. Like, you don't go blaming other things as well, or you don't go blaming other people, because then people will be like, oh, you see, that person did to her, and then now she's blaming other people. You know, so you stand for that. Maintain a very positive self-image, speak the truth, and I always say, when you say something, say it with the truth, in integrity, you know, and not try to, you know, manipulate your way around. You stand for it. And always remember this, you know, what Mahatma Gandhi said. He said, like, you know, every time he's feeling despair or people are start attacking him for something that, you know, he had good intentions, people always attack him. He said, throughout history, just look at the stories behind and every history books, all those people who stand for truth and love, they remain that after years and years. But those people who you think, you know, the murderers, the liars, or people who blame others, and those negative energies, you know, that people always reinforce, what happens? Maybe they seem invincible at a certain point in time, but they always fall.
The truth will always prevail.
Yes, love and truth will always prevail.
Like, I won't blame you after this, but I blame the iPad for typing itself out. The comments. Just check it out, like hello12.com/ facebook.com/hello12. Yes. Thank you so much, Murshidah.
Murshidah, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And as Murshidah said, stand your ground. Always remember, the truth will prevail no matter what happens. You just have to be truthful to yourself as well as the other person. All right, Malaysia, we're going to take a quick breaker, coming in with a hot happening, and we will see you in a bit with the next topic coming on board.